because a lot of time we're shooting film over the speed, and we lose that. We lose the quality, the details of it, which is very important. If you wanna do something up to the world standard, a little detail means something.
Well, everybody who's getting in front of the camera, a fighter or whatever, should value every time the camera's rolling, even when they're not doing their beat of action.
Yeah.
That moment is a moment to spend acting, to develop your acting skills. Like if you're not fighting, you're not doing a stunt, there's your moment to do some acting, and that could be better than your action pieces.
That's right.
Your reaction, because particularly Western audience, we're looking at faces, we're looking at emotion, we're looking at and we're not always looking at choreography, because we've seen it before. A sword will kill when it cuts the right person, but does the person who's doing the killing mean it, or they're just going through the motion? And is the
So you work with lots of young actors on Fengshen, because Fengshen, they've chosen very talented young actors. They do not have the big names, but some of them just started in the industry, and I believe they've done really hard work for the training and stuff. Are there any people any actors you think you can remember them from this movie, and you think they done really well?
Oh, look, I think there's been a few who I don't remember all their names, but the guy who played Zhang Jia in Bulgaria, he's very experienced, but
very experienced, yeah.
So I remember just I really love watching him work, because every time he's on, I just like, oh my goodness, he's out.
And very experienced, and he's a comedian.
I think doing comedy is very hard, and so his character was, I don't know whether to be scared of him or to be laughing at him. He's just he's very cool, but he's up there, and so is all the other actors. But one of the things about Fengshen is that it really celebrated youth and speed amongst our and that was really neat, because I think sometimes because the older actors were wise and they did magic, but we celebrated the speed and the dynamicism of the young actors, and I think that's that in itself is a real that's kind of something to celebrate, because these massive powers, the simple bow and arrow, is
a great shot,
is a superstar of that show, and he did that for real. There was not, and so and when you're putting these young actors in harnesses, and there's not, if they have stunt doubles, it was just purely to line up and do the previs. We did everything we tried to do, we did with them for real.
That's great. And this is my experience too. Like when the new people come into the filmmaking world, and often with stunts, they get excited. They get very excited, and sometimes they lose the detail. They lost the acting. And do you see that a lot on Fengshen, or they
No, I think every person who's doing the because of the length of the shoot, and I think that's quite a strategy. I saw it as well during Lord of the Rings, because it's not a 3-month shoot, it's a very long time. So people become very immersed into the role, and often and it was reflected in the work that they were putting in. So the actors would be at our training place after wrap, or before they went to set. So there was this real commitment to the authenticity of some of these characters that were being played. And also, look, and I think, to be honest, I think when you're sitting on a horse and you're galloping and you're shooting an arrow, or you're fighting and you're surrounded by 100 other people, there's not much acting to be done. I mean, it does feel pretty real, and I think that's the environment you want to create. I think one of the hardest things to do now is to imagine that you're surrounded by 100 people. When you're alone. I think one of the things that Fengshen did really well was, yes, it was most of the world is going to be digitally enhanced and put in, but the fact is there was still a huge commitment to costume and lots of people fighting at any one time. So it builds the environment on set, and it also adds to the energy of the performance of each person.
A lot of the flying work, the wire works are done by machines, right? Machines and human both.
Yeah, some of the stuff was done by ratchets and winch, but some of what I call the gods flying.
Yeah.
You can't. It's hard to beat the old Chinese method. It's not old. It's actually current and still works well today. And most of us in the West celebrate that because we try and do it as good. And but it takes good teamwork, but it also takes commitment from the person in the harness. And that's one of the wonderful things about working with Chinese actors in action films, is that they come ready and they come wanting to get in a harness. It's almost like some people, you got to be able to sing, while in China you've got to be able to get in a harness. And so one of the great things too now is that there's so much better equipment to wear. We're not using just tie-on old slings and everything. We're wearing very comfortable harnesses now, and so you feel much better in it, and you think you can, and that's great from a performance point of view. If you feel safe, you feel like you're not fighting the system, the rig system too much, then you're happy.